In our first story, the Ghana Police Service has offered a 20,000 Ghana Cedi reward for information on the whereabouts of persons who shot and killed Mfantiman MP Eko Kwanta. In a statement to the press, the police said it has dispatched more men to the central region to support the personnel in that part of the country as they carry out their investigations. Let's share a bit of that statement with you. And it reads, the Inspector General of Police IGP, Mr. James Opombueno, has dispatched investigators from the homicide and anti-armed robbery units of the CID headquarters to support the Central Region's crime scene team to solve the robbery incident and murder of Member of Parliament for Mfantiman, Honorable Eko Kwanta, at Abiadze Dominase on the Mankesim Abiadze Road in the Central Region at dawn of 9th October 2020. Meanwhile, the IGP is offering a reward of 20,000 Ghana cedis to any persons who give credible information that will lead to the arrest of the perpetrators. The police administration commiserates with Ghanaians, particularly family members and constituents of Honorable Eko Kwanta, while urging the general public to remain calm and support police in the investigation of this case. It's signed by Sheila Kese Abaye Bachman, Superintendent of Police and Director of Public Affairs. Let's take you live to Parliament, where currently members are discussing this killing.
Security to yourself. What it means is that, Mr. Speaker, this meeting, which is becoming very difficult because there's a campaign season and there's a responsibility of members of Parliament to work in this House. Mr. Speaker, if for the vote on account is not passed by this House, the entire country for next year will collapse. Government will not have resources to run this country for the first quarter next year. It means that it is incumbent on us, no matter what, to come and work for the state, and the security of every member here is very important. Mr. Speaker, we console the family, we console ourselves, and we hope that the second one, which is what happened today, will not happen again. And may the Lord God Almighty continue to give us the protection and the security, and the state as well should augment. We know the security agencies are doing their best, but so long as continuous improvement is a way of life, we still call upon them to do the best that they can. And we want the IGP to take all the necessary steps and the guidance from the board, the Parliamentary Service Board, and the directive that you have given and the advice that you have given. You should reconsider and provide the necessary security for members of Parliament. I thank you for the opportunity given to me. I'm so grateful.
Thank you very much. Yes. Mr. Speaker, I should thank you for the opportunity, but with a heavy heart and some difficulty accepting that this morning we are without our colleague, Ekwa Hayford, and the circumstance of his death is not natural. It is one for which we have been told and informed by the media that he was murdered in cool blood, having responded and identified himself as member of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, this will add up to the murder of our colleague, the Honorable J.B. Dankwa, in February 2016. Mr. Speaker, the first would be to commiserate with the family and to express profound condolences and sympathies to the family, to accept this heavy loss, but certainly not an acceptable loss. Not acceptable at all. And Mr. Speaker, it's a wake-up call that this Parliament, under your leadership, must elevate the security of members of parliament as a primary matter of concern. Mr. Speaker, there is no member of the Article 71 office holders under the Constitution who does not enjoy police protection. Indeed, district chief executives are not higher, even in terms of political elevation, to members of parliament. Ministers of state are not above members of parliament by the constitutional framework. We are elected. Some ministers may just be appointed. So, Mr. Speaker, the matter of our personal safety and security, I know what you have done personally at your level. I recall even just at the last board meeting, my colleague who is in the first deputy was there, when we raised the matter of MP security and even for leadership. Mr. Speaker, I'm compelled to read a paragraph from a letter from the Ghana Police Service signed by Commissioner General, Commissioner of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, when you just requested for provision of security for the leadership of parliament whilst in our respective constituencies. For instance, if I have now get to Tamale without my police, what happens? If the first deputy or the majority leader, Honorable Chairman, gets to Swami without his police, probably he may be flying while the police is in a vehicle going to join him. Mr. Speaker, it's significant to notice when you wrote to the IGP, this is what they responded with. I'm also directed to inform you that considering the forthcoming general elections, coupled with emerging security threats in some parts of the country, it will be difficult to provide additional permanent protection officers for the leadership. This is how we are treated as an institution. The most important organ in any democracy is Parliament. And therefore, we welcome the President's commiserating message to you. But beyond sympathies, we want action. And that action, the Inspector General of Police, even though an institution of state, falls directly under the executive. And therefore, the Inspector General of Police must seize this matter and act expeditiously and diligently and report back to you, the Speaker and Parliament. We need to know the circumstances leading to the murder of our colleague this morning after he successfully went to file his nomination as Echo Hereford Member of Parliament wanting a renewal of his mandate. He loses his life at 1 a.m. So, Mr. Speaker, the Inspector General of Police and the Minister for Interior will have to take up this matter and report same to this House as a matter of urgency. So, Mr. Speaker, our first will be to express our sympathies to, it's a loss to all of us, Parliament as an institution. I know it's been your quiet prayer that this Parliament would have passed with all 375 seniors through. Probably God has accepted your prayer. That is why we've not had any natural incident. But this unnatural murder of a member of Parliament, it happened to J.B. Dankwa. The perpetrators have not been identified. They have not been punished. But, Mr. Speaker, it raised an issue that members of Parliament were our own enemies. There is public distrust. Sometimes there's even public outrage. We have suffered physical attacks. We've suffered verbal attacks, but not deadly attacks. Not one that results in death. You can say you are not happy with the way we are contributing to your welfare. But once he loses their life, that's it. What more can he do? But, Mr. Speaker, the public, when we engage them, they will say that members of Parliament, yes, we are not asking for, we are asking for the safety and security of every Ghanaian. We are only additionally asking that given the risk of the job we do, we are given self-protection and personal protection. That must be done by the Inspector General of Police and the Minister for Interior. Mr. Speaker, we control their purse. If they refuse to provide for it, there will be an appropriation bill into next year. We will do what is appropriate, needfully and lawfully, because our lives matter and lives of members of Parliament matter. So, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Kwame Agoja and Honorable IP escaped someday on 3rd November 2019. The Honorable Kennedy Kwesi Kankam escaped death. So they are real. There is real and imminent threat to the lives of members of Parliament. And therefore we demand elevated self-protection for members of Parliament, whilst we call on the executive, the IGP, to improve the general security landscape of the country and to contain crime. But members of Parliament, we are not asking for too much if we say that we should. But Mr. Speaker, this particular letter dated 6th October 2020, addressed to you, addressed to the Clerk of Parliament, that they cannot even help us when you are talking about just when the leadership is in the constituency. The Honorable First Deputy travels to Bekwai. He has no immediate police available. He symbolizes Parliament as an institution. Anything that happens to him or majority leader negates the gains we are making as a democracy. And I think that Parliament itself must wake up. And members of Parliament, this is not a matter to which we should be divided. In any case, DEF doesn't know NDC, doesn't know MPP, but we want it to be natural. We don't want this managed killing of a member of Parliament who went to successfully file his nomination to serve his country. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Echo, everybody, as I sit here, he sat through, always beaming with a quiet smile, as he sits over there with a quiet smile. A gentleman of a member of Parliament, to lose him this way is not acceptable. I can't lose us.
Minority Leader of Parliament Haruna Idrisu there. Let's take you to the home of the late Member of Parliament, where my colleague Richard Kojonyako has been interacting with some family members and constituents.
This is the residential facility of the incumbent Member of Parliament for Fansimano constituency called Kwanzaa Hayford, who was shot dead early this dawn at 1 a.m. In fact, there have been several narrations that people are attributing to the death of this Member of Parliament. But this is the residential facility. It looks as if the entire town of Mankasim is here. People have trooped to where he lives. He has a wife and 2 children, and people cannot control themselves.
Well, what I know is that I was called in the middle of the night, somewhere around 2 a.m. I had a call that the MP is gone. So I quickly asked, what really happened, and I was told. So what I did was that I went to Sopwan Government Hospital, where I saw the MP lying down dead, being shot.
This particular stretch, what do you know about this stretch? And when you do campaign deep or late into the night like that?
We are not even campaigning at the moment. Because of the COVID, there has been a whole lot of strategy where you wouldn't have a whole lot of people. So what the constituency has designed is that they managed to meet some few people and talk to them. So, and normally what we do is that, we give them a pre-information that we are coming. But of course, if MP is going somewhere, there will be a whole lot of people also, coming across. So sometimes that's what really eats into the night. So it's not as if it's been organized in the middle of the night. Yeah.
And it's been so much of a difficulty for them to handle. So tell us, how do you take all of this?
To be honest and sincere, we are very sad this morning because we are not expecting something of this sort this morning. And from what we are all suggesting and assuming, it's something that they've planned and plotted about.
Why do you think so?
Because how come they went there and mentioned the name of the MP? Who is the MP? Because they are a group of people. So if they are armed robbers, they would have attacked all of them. They will not mention or point to a particular person. So in this way, they pointed that we are looking for the MP. And the moment the MP showed up, they shot him. So it means it's a plan thing. Whether within the party or outside the party, it's a plan thing. We are not doing anything till we hear something good from our constituency executives. Let them come and voice out to us what they are taking, the necessary steps they are taking before we will come down.
By 2 o'clock, you are here to the honorable, I say for but let me do because every morning by 5:30 to 6. Ya na ebe ya oshan yabo na ya ban kwa sa do ya chonye bida ya ni to ye di ya kasa le me yankasa ene ala anabon na banta na kasa le me yankase al mama kasa ma na me shamobo no ye radre pa blanda.
And the head of civil service, Nana Jekum Dramina, is urging civil service and social workers to stay out of active partisan politics due to its implication on governance. A 2017 Supreme Court ruling bars civil service staff from engaging in active partisan politics. Speaking at Clocksac's annual award ceremony, Nana Dramina says members must heed to the ruling in order to earn the trust of the public. Annabella Ohinijan has more in this report.
Today's celebration, therefore, serves as a natural, seamless transition to another effort at lifting up the image of the Ghana civil service. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to award distinguished Clocksack members who have also exhibited key values of the service and to remind ourselves of the neutral role we as workers play in the governance of this country.
Head of Civil Service, Nana Jekum Dramina, advising civil servants to stay away from partisan politics. He stressed that partisan politics has negative implications such as contempt among staff due to open or subtle discrimination and lack of motivation.
The Supreme Court's ruling in the matter has clarified the law relating to the participation of staff in the local government service in political activities. We as civil servants need to continuously demonstrate our core values and principles of professionalism, integrity, accountability, selfless service, and above all, political neutrality to earn the trust of the public and our political leaders whom we serve and to hold high the image of the service. We celebrate this subject as we strive towards building a professional and local government service. We should remember that the key values and principles of the service, such as leadership, integrity, professionalism, loyalty, and selflessness, are what will make us stand out.
The Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana, Clocksack, event also awarded 13 staff for exhibiting excellent work ethic. Former head of the Civil Services, Glover Korte, was honored as the ultimate award winner for excellence in leadership and also for being public interest minded.
It has come to me as a very pleasant surprise. So in me to give me this honor, and may God richly bless you.
The Executive Secretary for Clocksack, Dr. Isaac Bampo-Addo, argued that civil service workers are the engine of government work and advised them to give off their best.
We have this quote: it is the profession of the civil servant that will move this country forward and not the politicians. We believe the politician should perfect the civil servant.
Let's stay with politics, and Energy Minister John Peter Amewu is confident of making history by winning the Hohoe parliamentary seat in the Volta region on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party NPP. According to him, electorates in the constituency are pleased with his role in harnessing development to the area and the good works of the Akufo-Addo-led government, hence would reward the NPP in the December polls. Mr. Amewu mentioned these when he addressed the media after successfully filing his nomination forms to contest the Hohoe parliamentary seat.
There was traffic congestion when the energy minister took to the streets to submit his nomination form to contest the Hohwe parliamentary seat. Residents from across the constituency, clad in NPP colors, led Mr. Amewu's convoy from his residence to the Hohwe Municipal Office of the Electoral Commission. Addressing the crowd, Mr. Amewu appealed to the constituents to give him the opportunity to transform Hohwe, which has been represented in Parliament by the National Democratic Congress since 1992.
Johnny no 11 and I jibo kakama ide so peta kpotomo aw menyebe ami enyo aide jibo a ka alaba wa to so peta kpotomo aide jibo come 7 December Mobinyo let me know that call Daboko Yawe na me ya na we no na no be ya mi akode na wo mo Adu ya kata le tojolo vota rigu ele tojolo Hohwe ele tojolo Ghana makani be ya bete mi le pom eya ta de ka ku ebi le tubio ya fo suku ya me ya ole suku de le Ghana free SSS product bu ojo nu party chacha anaba e Ghana ba me no wa contact ye ki to na no le ka ku ebi le tubio wa ko to awo mele atam kana ya ho weto ya fo suku ba adu kata eto. There is a new Hohwe, and I want you to be part of that history.
Mr. Amewu, who is making a third bid for the Hohwe parliamentary seat, is however optimistic about winning this time around.
You've seen it from the people themselves, and I think that history is about to be made, and the people are excited, taking into consideration the numerous development projects that they have witnessed during these 4 years of the MPP administration. And so they think that it's time they begin to think positively, and by thinking positively to do the right thing and making sure that this seat this time goes to the new patriotic party. There's a huge opportunity for the youth. The level of unemployment in Hohwe is quite high, and what we began and will continue to do is to see how we engage the youth into numerous projects. You know, we've started that process, and I think this is what is giving them the hope that if I represent them in Parliament, of course, the opportunity will be opened up to a lot more youth. You know, the rate of unemployment in our streets, if it continues this way, I don't think we will all be happy about it. So the youth are happy that there's somebody coming in now to open up the opportunity for them, create job opportunity, train them, those who want to do, you know, self-employed business, train them, facilitate the source of funding for them to engage in business. Our market women, you know, we started facilitating some source of funding for them for their trading activities. The farmers group, and all the other, you know, various groups in the traditional and the constituency at large. These are some of the things that we think if we do will help them and help Ghana as a whole.
It's so live on JoyNews today. Let's take you back to Parliament, where Speaker of Parliament, Reverend Professor Mike Okwe, is speaking regarding the killing of this Member of Parliament.
As well as those who sometimes criticize when protection is being demanded. And it is noteworthy that the directives I gave as chairman of the board, the response from the police sort of coincided with this unfortunate incident. I'm respectfully directing that the Honorable Minister for Interior should appear in this Honorable House on Tuesday to assure the safety of honorable members, particularly with reference to those words which apparently provoked this dastardly act. the Honorable Minister is hereby invited to come make explanation, give assurances for the protection of honorable members, so that honorable members may advise themselves as they think fit in all the circumstances. It's not every MP who is an MP in Accra. They live far away from Aflao to Enchi, and yet they work here in Parliament. If their family happens to be in Navurungo, should they leave those people unattended too?
It's still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Let's move elsewhere. And Ghana annually records 78,000 cases of Holy Heart amongst children. That's the worrying statistic from the National Cardiothoracic Center. But what is more worrying is that parents of these children are unable to afford surgeries needed for the survival of these young ones. Dr. Stephen Ochrimenta of the National Cardiothoracic Center says at least $1,500 is required to treat this condition. He's been speaking with Mamavi Oswabwaje as part of a campaign dubbed Frital Healthy Heart to educate Ghanaians on preventive and curative measures for cardiovascular diseases in children.
For children, mostly what they have is what we call congenital heart disease. Congenital means that they got these diseases from the womb, from the uterus. So in the developmental stages of the heart or of the fetus, they have some structural abnormalities. So they have what we commonly know as hole in heart. And the hole in heart, we are not going to give medications for it. You know, they may have symptoms that you may give medications, but the definitive treatment mostly is surgical intervention. Okay. And these surgical interventions is carried out at the National Cardiothoracic Center, but it costs a lot. And that is where, you know, we call for a lot of help.
When you say it costs a lot, how much would you need to treat a child?
So we need quite a lot. The surgery itself costs about $1,500 to about $5,000 per head. And in a year, we have about 7,000 to 8,000 children with hole in heart. So,
in Ghana?
Yes, in Ghana. So if we are not able to gather funds to help these, and most of the parents of these kids are financially, you know, unable to take care of the cost of the surgery. So we need a lot of help. That's why we're excited about Frital coming in, you know, to help out. So, and it's also an avenue to call upon other corporate organizations to also come in to assist.
So how do you tap into this fund? How do you tap into it?
So there's a fund available. There's a fund scheme available, and we call upon corporate social organizations to just, you know, make donations. So we have other, organizations that make yearly donations, you know, to the fund, and we use these funds to take care of the kids who genuinely will not be able to afford.
Okay, because I was.
Now, Dr. Stephen Ochrimenta has also been giving healthy tips on how to take care of the heart through healthy diet, exercise, and other lifestyle practices to prevent cardiovascular diseases and best practices and care to survivors. We will be sharing with you these tips in the rest of our programs. You're still live on Joy News today. We take a few messages. When we come back, business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Ministry of Communications through the Data Protection Commission has launched a new data registry and compliance software to enhance data collection in the country. To this end, Ghana will be leading the continent in a quest to harmonize data of businesses operating within the continental free trade market. Now, speaking at the launch, Minister for Communications, Eso Kufu, disclosed that the country is getting closer to achieving its aim of digitalizing the economy. Here's more in this report.
The move to launch the new registry is influenced by increasing non-compliance with the Data Protection Act, which seeks to bring all data processing companies under one law. Out of the over 60,000 data collection businesses registered at the Registrar General's Department, only about 20,000 have been certified and licensed as data collection institutions. Minister for Communications, Eslo Usokufu, hinted that Ghana will be ahead of its counterparts in the African continent with regards to protecting data of citizens, as the move will enhance the agenda of harmonizing data for the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
The UN has also selected Ghana as a case study nation to research and monitor the ethics of artificial intelligence in the processing of personal data for the Africa region. The knowledge gained will be used to set best practice standards for the entire region. We're also piloting the implementation of requirements for a harmonized data protection law for Africa. The benefit of this will be a standardized and consistent approach to handling data across the region. And as we gear up to implement the African Continental Free Trade Area, African interstate and international trade will not only benefit from the harmonized data protection regime, but cross-border processing of data should also be easier and smoother.
Executive Director of the Data Protection Commission, Patricia Eduse-Poku, expressed worry that many companies have still not registered with the Commission despite several engagements.
But we have only 2,000 registered data controllers approximately. So that should tell you the gap between where we are and where we ought to move to as a nation. So we have a lot of work to do from many fronts, and with the media support, you challenging them when they come to, use your studio to make the announcements, you challenging them about their status of compliance and how they collect and process data. More and more institutions will be registering with the Commission so that we can have a list of them to engage with and to support to implement privacy programs, so that this time next year we will move more closer to that 60,000 than where we are now.
Meanwhile, the Communications Minister also announced an amnesty period to all data controllers who couldn't register to do so.
Now, there's more support for the multimedia group's Up to Us campaign, as the Ghana Association of Bankers has donated 100,000 cedis for persons displaced by floods in northern Ghana. Nicholas Brown has more.
In the donation, Chief Executive Officer John Ewa urged the general public, organizations and other corporate institutions to emulate the Ghana Association of Bankers and their members to support the multimedia project, which will ultimately bring relief and put smiles on the many displaced people.
On behalf of the Ghana Bankers Association and all our member institutions, I stand here to present a check for 100,000 Ghana cedis to the Northern Flood Disaster Fund. We would like to use this forum to thank Joy FM for leading this effort. And we believe that with banks coming to the table, our customers and all our trading partners will also stand up and be counted. Thank you very much.
Host of the Super Morning Show, Kojo Yankson, also commended the Ghana Association of Bankers and its members for this unflinching support, saying the existence of the multimedia brand is to influence and touch lives of the people around, adding that this donation will make a huge difference.
Even though there is a responsibility on our state to come to the aid of these people, we have unique constraints that delay some of this aid. And if we don't stand in the gap, more lives will be lost and the devastation will be, impossible to quantify. So it is a huge relief, not just to us here, but to the people who are waiting patiently for someone to come to their aid, that an organization like yours has taken an interest. Banks have been part of this solution from the beginning. You mentioned EcoBank having partnered us to start off this campaign. It is so welcome to see the entire association also coming in with some support. I just want to assure you that this support will make a huge difference.
Chief Operating Officer Multimedia Group Ken Ansa assured the association that the Multimedia Group will be circumspect in its reportage, especially the banking sector, to help restore investor confidence in the banking industry.
We take it very seriously. It is something we work at every day. Unfortunately, once in a while we will experience a slip here or there, but that should even never be an excuse. We should always push to the highest professional standards, and we commit to doing that. And we can assure you that for the banking sector and all sectors for that matter, we will continue to work very hard to promote these spaces. But importantly, it's also to engage the right people who have the right information and can help us carry the right message to our audience.
Nicholas Brown reporting for Joy Business.
And the small business news at the top of the hour. Up next, well, stay tuned.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews today. Now, our Doom TV's Instruma reality show is set to return to the screens for season 3. The show gives the opportunity for kids between the ages of 8 to 12 to showcase their musical prowess. After having a successful 2 seasons, the team is back to give a new set of kids the chance to show the world what they have got.
Righteous, go back.
Me pay the way I use stage, you know. Because I hold the She takes out voice and say, I like your stage craft. What's he? Practice and add the extra. What is here? Steven, Masoya Mawati.